All right. So once again, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the returning faculty orientation. In the next, I would say 30 minutes, I'm going to have you guys go through some few updates that we have. And by the way, can you all see the PowerPoint? Is it showing up?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you. All right, so the agenda for today is as this, as you're looking at it. We are going to give you some few updates that in online learning, what is going on, what is the new, any new things that is going on right now. We are going to go over some of the expectations again as an online instructor. We will talk about ADW, NSW reinstatement, and of course, we will talk about students with special needs, proctored exam, and also provide you, or I'll have my colleague, Mr. Steven Bradford, who has some few stuff to discuss on the checklist, just as a reminder, and we will end it up with, professional development information. Now, throughout the section, you can ask us any question that you have, or, if you do have mic, you can, speak directly, or you can type. We are monitoring the chat, and at the same time, you can, as I say, grab the mic and talk to us. Now, so we are going to start with some updates. Last semester, which was fall 2019, we had these 5 courses that were selected to be developed. Now, we call it new online courses because they are not currently being offered online. They are face-to-face courses, and there has been a need for those courses to be put online. So courses such as Intro 201, African American Studies 101, and Physical Science 111. All these 3 courses are currently going to be offered in spring 2020 in this semester. However, for Humanity 223, we are going to also pilot that particular course in this semester, but it's going to be a 12-week course section, meaning that it may start sometime in February. And the Humanity 143 is scheduled to come on live in summer 2020. In addition to that, this semester we do have these 6 courses that are going to be revised. So they are the courses in front of you. I don't have to maybe read it back to you all together, but these courses are going to be revised. And if if your expertise fall within one of these, you may be receiving an email from your AOC asking you whether you are available to join the design team. And the hope is that we get it done at the end of the semester and do a few tweak, and maybe in fall 2020 we can pilot it, or if you get it done earlier, we can have a summer version that we can pilot in the summer of this semester. Quality matters. We've been talking about the quality matter for the past 2 semesters. The update that we have for you is that currently we are pretty much ready to have the quality matters being adopted by city colleges, because we are at the final stage where the contract has pretty much been reviewed and then approved, and we are just waiting on a couple of folks to sign it. Now, the opportunity for that is that when we have Quality Matters, which is a well-known, I would say, organization, a non-profit organization, and their focus is always to be, help an institution to design and provide the best online experience to both faculty and student, using some standard rubrics that are well known, I say across the globe, because they are, in Asia, they are in Africa, they are in Europe, and they are in Australia, and of course they are here in the United States. So the opportunity is going to be for online faculty to have the chance to go through some training. And the good thing is that because they are well sought, I would say, skill set, when you go through this training and you get a certificate, you can use that, for your own consulting. Like you can do it for consulting work at other institution that you are teaching. And sometimes, maybe you have other, I would say, institution who are interested in people who know how to use their rubric in course development. So we plan to have everything in line and start having it open to every faculty who is eligible to teach online to go through those training by fall 2020. Online training, online faculty training. As you know, currently, ION, the Illinois Online Network, is taking 3 classes with them. Is the requirement to be able to teach online. And those we have received, I would say, some complaints from faculty who are going to the training. And one of the complaints is being that, okay, they are using Moodle and we are using what we call Brightspace, or in the past Blackboard. They want to have that experience working in an LMS that we are currently using. Not only that, some people think that there are other stuff like in our own policy, our own issues that they need to know before they step into that online environment. So currently, we are working to replace that, but it doesn't mean that anybody who is taking or ION course right now is not going to be able to be credentialed to teach. The courses through ION are still active. You can still go through that. And we hope that by fall 2020, we will move away from that and rather have our own internal courses that faculty are now going to use and go to those training before they have been given a chance to teach online. The next update here is that by the 30th of June in this year, Collaborate Ultra is going to be retired, meaning that we are not going to use Collaborate Ultra anymore. It is still available right now, and it may be available for the first part of the summer, but we do have Zoom, which is the system I'm currently using. We have Zoom, which can be used to replace. You can use that to replace it. And now some of you are interested in using that, please just reach out to us. And there is some kind of an app integrated in Brightspace that you can use in lieu of Collaborate Ultra. But just to let you know that we move fully to Collaborate Ultra at least the next 2 semesters. Online course accessibility. This is a topic that we've discussed also for some time, but the update that we have for you is this. Triple Media, which is a company that works to transcribe and also converts audio and video materials and make them accessible. We are working with them, and we do have their contract pretty much ready. My understanding is that we should get that contract signed by the end of the week. The idea here is that we are going to go back and look at most of our master courses and look at the videos and the audio in them and start transcribing them or having caption on them to make sure that we meet the ADA section 508 requirement, which all of you may know now. That's pretty much people, institutions around the United States are being sued by folks that their courses are not accessible. So we want to take the step and be at the front end of this instead of just relaxing until we are get caught by in the fireworks. So we are going to have them in, and we will start working on that. So hopefully by the start of next 2 weeks, we will have some kind of a process in place. We will communicate that with you and let you know, so that if you have any video you want to use and stuff, we will have some kind of criteria pulled together and we can work on that. In addition to that, there is a discussion going on to see whether we can get Ally. Ally is a product from Blackboard. Blackboard just bought them not long ago. It's a product that can easily be integrated into Brightspace. And what it does is that anytime you upload any document, not video, not audio, only documents, when you upload documents, the system automatically kind of transcribe it to make it accessible. So it is going to be maybe around maybe 90% accessible. If there are a few tweaks that you can do, you can still do that. So we want to see whether we can get this product on board. And this there is a discussion going on with that. And we'll see whether Harold Washington and the district, they are ready to spend the money so that we can use it. And finally, on the accessibility, as you may notice, anybody who is I work with in my discipline, when I'm reviewing your checklist, your course, if I see things that are not accessible, I normally bring it to your attention, letting you know that if you do have a URL, if you do have images, all those stuff, you should be, kind of change them to become accessible. And the one thing I would like to point out is that we have noticed that some of you are still using the old version of the course syllabus, despite we took time to pretty much change all the master syllabi and make them accessible. So just be careful when you are doing the images and color coding, all those stuff. Make sure you select colors that are ADA compliant. So when we are looking through your courses as a review, as part of the checklist, if you see something which is not in line with accessibility, we will let you know. But make sure that all your text and images, at least especially the images, they do have some kind of alt text on them. Expectations as an online instructor. I think this is something that we've been talking about for, I would say, numerous semesters. We always bring it back because every semester we do have issue, and I can tell you for sure that last semester was not. I would say no, it's not pleasant. I'll put it that way. We have many faculty that we found out that did not adhere to the assignment requirement. Expectation here, we want you to create an online community. We want you to create to make sure that students know that you are around. Yes, you are teaching the course online, making your presence felt by the student, that they know that there is actually, in quote unquote, a real human being at the other side of the computer is really important. That is what research has shown. And that those are some of the stuff that you can do to make sure that this happens, is that provide student meaningful feedback and prompt responses to their question. Even if you receive an email that you have no idea how exactly you're going to reply to that email, a quick or a mere acknowledgement of that particular email is a sign to the student that I receive it. I'm going to review it and get back to you tomorrow. The same thing applies to if you're posting an announcement. We say that every semester, try to post a weekly announcement. Weekly announcement just introducing any module or any units you are going to open in that particular week. Student needs to know that in week 3, I'm starting with module number 4, and these are the stuff I'm expected to work on. Yes, I hear all the time the excuse that, oh, I send them an email every week to let them know, which is fine. It's a good practice. But at the same time, a copy of that same email you send them, you can make a copy of that email and put it as a part of an announcement, something like a welcome week 6 announcement. Because one of the issues we are having is that whenever students, have these grievances about the fact that you are not communicating with them, they come and say that I haven't received anything from my instructor. I sent an email, I call, all the stuff. The instructor will come back and say, I emailed them. Okay, there's nothing for us to verify that unless we get you for you to send us a copy of those emails. So one of the easiest ways, at least, to say that no, she or he has been in the course, he's been posting an announcement, he's been telling us what you do, is for us to go to your course and look at the announcement that you are posting. So please, please, and please, I say that 3 times, post a weekly announcement. Just making a habit of doing that. We beg you, do that for us. Post a weekly announcement. It helps students to know that this is what is going on. In addition to that, we say you should keep your grade updated. This past semester, we have issues with students complaining bitterly. We have almost 3 different classes from one instructor, and a student came up and say, pretty much that they submitted their first assignment, or the assignment, maybe it's a week 3, that hasn't been graded until, let's say, week 8 or 9. And that is a speech course where the students need some kind of a feedback from the instructor to know what is wrong with their speech so that they can build on that. So that is the kind of example that is happening pretty much every semester. And this past semester was worse. I want to say that honestly with you. Yeah, it was worse because we have right now, as I'm talking to you, we are still doing investigation about some of the students claiming that they have a wrong grade. And when we go to know, yes, they were not giving any grade until pretty much the last week of the semester before they knew where they stood in terms of their final grade. So, I mean, just imagine that you are taking a graduate course in the face-to-face and you don't know where you stand. You submit all your assignment and you don't know where you stand until your instructor comes to you last week and said that you failed or you got a C. And you all know that graduate school, if you got a C, it's a failure. You got a C. How will you react? So if we turn the table around, we expect you to do just, the same thing for the student. And please, help us, to achieve that particular goal. Log in into your courses at least 3 times a week. This is something that is even in your assignment addendum. Please try to do that. And we also expect you, when you log in, just don't log in and come out. Log in if you're doing something, gradebook, or you are grading, you are checking on assignment, you can do that. Now, for your information, what is going to happen moving forward, at least beginning this semester, is that we are now being told by the Office of Instruction that in order not to go through the same, French people say disorder, like disorder that we had this semester, we are going to be able to run a report of login and grade book updating pretty much every other day. It's going to be a daily task that we're given to us to do that. And when we see that someone hasn't logged in for days, at least a maximum of for 5 days, you may receive an email from your AOC, or you may even receive an email from a chair or from the dean. We want to make sure that this kind of stuff that we went through this semester, or last semester, doesn't happen again. Monitor student submission and remind student of missed assignment. This is something like you would call it a courtesy reminder to student. If you post your weekly announcement at the beginning of the semester, you may want to also send a reminder to student on Friday and let them know that, what, just don't, as a quick reminder, don't forget you do have your project, your assignment due this Sunday. And that also helps student. Conduct 3 live sections, and I think most of you do that. We have no issue with that. And the last point here that says communicate with IDM or AOC, this came up because of this last semester. What happened was that for whatever reason, we have few faculty who has issue. If I say issue, like they have a problem to deal with. They may be maybe one of them, for example, travel outside the country. I think went to Japan or something for a conference, but was unable to log in into her online course, and based on that was pretty much absent for a couple of weeks. So we got to know about it because the student came back to her and said that I've been sending an email, there's no reply to the email. I called the number that the faculty provided, I couldn't reach her. What is going on? Before we got to know from the instructor that, I'm outside the country, and because you are outside, sometimes getting into a CCC kind of a site is difficult. Now, we didn't know about it until we got that call. And the annoying part of it is that the student didn't even come to the department. They sent an email directly to the provost's office. So that is the way they want people to hear them, that they are not being treated fairly. So when those things happen, please, you are going outside the country, or you may be unavailable, or you have some kind of a health issue that you need to take care of, reach out to us. We don't need you to tell us maybe the details of what is going on, by a quick email to say, Selim, hi, I'm about to undergo some kind of a surgery. I may be unavailable for the next 1 week. I already told my student yes, but I'm just letting you know, and so that if there's something you can, we can be that backup person. So if there's something that we can do, post an announcement for you, or if there are quick questions that we can answer, we'll be more than glad to do that. Now, if we don't know about it, there's no way we'll be able to tell the student that this is what is going on, because as I say, the complaints come in before we go into your course to investigate and see whether what the student is saying is true. And if you see that the last time you logged in was 3 weeks ago, we had one this past semester, she just disappeared. We call, but she was in hospital, which we understood. We call, nothing. Until the HR call, the home campus call, we have to actually get someone else to take over the course before we got to know that she was seriously sick. So things happen. We know we all have life, but please, if you plan to go and do something that you know that is going to prevent you from having access to your course, take another step to get in touch with us. Because what we found out is that they are good at telling the folks on their face-to-face campus. They go to their home campus and tell the dean or the chair that I may be unavailable, but they forget what do you call it, their stepchildren, which are we. They forget online folks. So we get to know from the home campus that this is what is going on. So I'm sorry that I've taken so much time on this, but honestly, it took us a lot of time going through all these issues we have this semester. And we wanted to bring it back and really explain it to do that. We need your help in making sure that you provide students the best learning experience online. If they don't like your class, they don't have a good satisfaction, it's likely they're not coming back to take an online class. The next issue here, or the next information here, is about the NSW, which we've spoken about some time. The only thing that I would like to stress here is that it's not only that students need to log in into your courses on 2 different days in course of the first few days of the course, but they are also encouraged and required to complete the first week assignment. That is what is being termed here as an academic activities. Now, if they fail to do that, that is where you give them an NSW, you withdraw them from the course. So please, that there has been a change in the policy, as I put a link there, a change in the student policy. So they have to be actively working on the first week and activities, whatever you have there, orientation, introduction to themselves, all those stuff. They have to be able to do that before you can keep them in. Otherwise, you can give them NSW. Now, my advice is this: before you give someone NSW, if possible, email them to find out whether they are still in the class. You may be surprised because until today, attending student orientation, online new student orientation is not required. And we have students that sometimes get into these particular courses because they couldn't find their face-to-face and have no idea what it is like to take an online class. They may tell you that, oh, I didn't know. I thought because it's an online class, I can log in. I do have up to the end of the semester. So I can log in anytime I want to. I say yes, but it means that you do have a due date for each assignment. And one of it is that you have to log into your course to finish your first week assignment, otherwise you are dropped. So take that one step to reach out to them, find out where they are, their status, before you go ahead and give them NSW. That will help you from going through a reinstatement process. ADW. Now, the ADW part, as you all know, is what we call is a midterm grade that you give to students who, for whatever reason, fail to show that they are actively pursuing the course. Active pursuit here just means that they are not participating, no quiz submitted, no exam, no assignment, no paper, no email. Pretty much they are absent, or we call them sometimes missing in action. When you find out a student that you know for sure, let's assume I'm one of your students, I'm in the course, I've been doing well until maybe the 5th week, and for whatever reason, you don't see me turning in or any assignment. I think what I would do if I'm the instructor is to send an email to that student and find out that, oh, Salam, I noticed that you've not been, so what is going on? Is there something I can do to help? Before maybe he or she may tell you that, you know what, I was in the hospital, or I'm having this issue or something. So try to find out from them before you give me an ADW. Now, the next thing is this. ADW is different from giving someone an F. If a student in your course is not doing well meaning that he's or she has been submitting below standard work, that means she's failing the class, that student should not be given an ADW, should be getting an F, because whatever the student is doing is not doing anything to meet the standard that you set for the course, which sometimes some of our colleagues mixed with ADW. ADW means that you are not being actively pursuing in the course, and now I'm going to withdraw you from the course. Unlike I'm in the course, I'm submitting assignment here and there, I'm not doing well, I'm failing, you get an F in the midterm, but not an ADW. So I want that distinction to be made. Now, we do have issues sometimes where you give an ADW and SW to a student, the student come back to you and say that, please, Professor Cox, I am in your psych course and I need to be reinstated. I want to get reinstated. Now, it is up to you, the instructor, to determine that student, you do a favor to that student by reinstating him or her. So if, for example, in a course, an 8-week course, for example, we are in the 4th week and a student is coming back to you to get reinstated, it's going to be difficult for that person to catch up. Now, in a 16-week semester, which is going to be starting next week, you drop the student the 10th day, the student came back to you and said, please, I'm having this issue, that's why I couldn't meet the requirement, and I'm begging you, I want to get back to the course. And you say yes, The next step will be you will have to send an email to hwregistrar@ccc.edu. And please, in the email, you should clearly indicate the name of your course. Let's say Site 201 WW1. And I would like to re-enroll what it means. I'm just giving a name. Let's say Mr. Stephen Bradford with ID number this to be reinstated into my course. And they normally take, they say 48 hours, but in the next, I can tell you in the next 24 hours, that student will get back to the course. Now, please note, a student that you have ADW, that means at the midterm, you gave the student an ADW. That means the student was withdrawn. Now the student came back to you with all the good excuses, and you decided to reinstate that student. If the student is reinstated back into the course, the student cannot say that you want to withdraw after the withdrawal date. Let me say that again. A student in your course was given an ADW. And when you give it an ADW to the student, that means student is out of the course when the system update itself with the midterm grade. The student came back to you and tell you that, Professor Cox, I'm one of your students. I want to get back because of this. Now you think that, after looking at how the situation that the student presented, that okay, I'm gonna get you back into the course. The student, when the student get back to the course, the understanding is that he or she is gonna stay there until the end of the semester. They have to stay there until the end of the semester. They cannot go back and tell you that, oh, I want to withdraw from the course now. No, they have to stay. That means if they want to withdraw now, they'll get an F. The next part of it is that a student the students cannot be reinstated after the withdrawal date. And the withdrawal date, I believe most of the time I put it in the important date. When that date comes, the student cannot come back to you and say that I want to withdraw. No, they can do the withdrawal on their own, but they have to deal with their own campus or how to deal with that. But most of the time they will say no to you and say, I'm sorry, the withdrawal date has passed, you end up getting an F. That's how it's going to happen. So please just be aware of that. If this is a little bit confusing, let us know when you face that situation. We can help you through it and let you know how you can deal with that. So let me pause for a minute and see whether you do have any question for me. Any question? Any question? No.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead, Deborah.
So last semester, I had in this situation, I had a couple of students who disappeared, and I did reach out to them by email, finding out if they were going, what their intentions were, and they don't respond. So at that point, is there any other procedures that you guys would like for me to do to avoid
Yes.
this situation?
Okay, what I normally advise, like you are one of my, I work with you. What I advise is that if it's possible, share their names with me. I can get you their phone number.
Okay.
I can get you a phone number, just give a phone call. Somebody picks it up, nobody picks it up. That is fine. That is the last straw. That means you have really, really attempted to get in touch with them to find out how you can help them or what is going on. And of course, we have a situation where I'll give you the phone number. When you call, it's going to be one of those phone numbers that they cut all the time. But the good news is that most of them use their grandma telephone as a kind of emergency. So you may be able to reach them through their grandma phone. But let us know, share with them. We can get you the phone number by going through to Great First. I can get you their personal number to reach out to find out what is going on. If you don't hear anything from them, you've done what you're supposed to. You just move on. That's all.
Okay.
You give them an AW, whatever they deserve, you give it to them. So that is what I normally advise my colleagues to do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Any
I
other
have a question, Shalom.
Yes, please go ahead.
So if I want to give an ADW, I would look on, make sure the question is about the withdrawal date. So there's a withdrawal date on our calendar, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I can give them an ADW up to that withdrawal date?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay.
You can do that. You can do that up to withdrawal date. Because in other words, what is going on is that we have this whereby, let's assume that, I'm just getting an assumption, right? Let's assume that one of your students is Stephen. I'm using Stephen again because he's the scapegoat here. One of your students is just Stephen. Stephen in your class has even been doing well until midterm and finished the midterm with a B. Immediately after,
Oh, yeah, right, okay.
immediately after midterm, Stephen disappeared. No more papers, nothing. You try to call, you email, you did all you could, nothing, no activities from him.
Mhm.
So he can know, that means he's going on the way of getting an F. But you can withdraw that student because the active pursuance of the course has been broken. So by up to the time of the withdrawal date, you can still withdraw him and give him an ADW. That's B or A he got at the midterm will be changed to ADW.
Okay,
Does it make sense?
yeah, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Simon question? Lisa question? Anything? All right. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Stephen Bradford. Is going to talk to you from the student with special need. Stephen.
Just to follow up with Salome really quickly, just make sure, again, like he said, try to call the students if you can. You can find it in your my.cc.edu. When you go look up your roster, you'll be able to find the phone number. So try that. So just emailing students, we know they don't check email, or trying to send a message through. In Brightspace, you can send messages. So maybe you can try that if you see that they're online. Use that as well. We're trying to look at different ways where we can reach out to students besides what the tools we already have. But definitely do more than just email, because we know students don't check their email. Okay. And once you've done all that, if you still need to withdraw a student, then you withdraw them, but you give your reasons to say, I called and I emailed you. I tried to reach out to you. You're obviously not participating in the class. So I withdrew you. And then you stand by your word. But if those things didn't happen, then it's kind of hard for us to back up the instructor to say, okay, well, why didn't the student, even though they know they're not doing work, but we ask you to at least try to do those steps. All right, students with special needs. So as we are developing our courses and as we move forward, we notice that we have more students with special needs. And this is fine, but this is one of those reasons why, one, we're looking at quality matters, so that we have a clear understanding of what we need to do. For part of it is for disability access. The other thing is that this is why in our checklist, we have you make sure that you don't have any long HTTP links. We ask you not to make sure you don't have any images that doesn't have the alt text on it. So there's reasons why we're asking you to do those things, because we need to make sure that up front our courses are accessible to students, so we're not rushing behind the scene trying to fix it. But if we have those students, we mention this every semester, that we do ask students to register with the Disability Access Center, but we can't necessarily force them to do that. If they don't want to, they don't need to. Most will, but you might find a student that will pop up in your class and say, hey, I have these needs. Can you help me out? The most you can do is to say, okay, tell me what your need is and let me see if I can accommodate you. But you can kind of, in some way, you got to kind of do it very nicely, mention to say, okay, check with the Disability Access Center to see what they can do to support you as well. We ask that, if they do go to the Disability Access Center, and they register, that you make sure that you receive the letter from them, you get those accommodations that you need, that they need to be successful in your course. They will send you an email, they will communicate with you, and then we just ask that you just comply the best way you can. If they need something like a screen reader or somebody to take notes, then you're gonna have to tell them they're definitely gonna have to refer to the DAC Center, because that's not something we can handle online. But if you have any questions about any kind of requirements that the student may have, definitely talk to the DAC director. I will tell you that there have been some students who have gone to other campuses, or other colleges, like let's say UIC or another university, and say, oh, I have a disability letter from that campus. Some instructors ask, well, is that good enough? Not really. I've talked to the Disability Access Center here on our campus, our director, and she said, no, they have to have one from our campus in order for us to make accommodations. So just be aware of that note as well. Can you move to the next slide? Proctored exams. Okay, this is another biggie. We talk about this every semester, and we still have people who are having problems. We really honestly don't know why that there are so many problems still occurring, but we deal with the backlash from the students, and we're really trying to improve this. Please let us know if there's something that's not working, if there's issues or problems that you don't understand. Now is the time for you to ask those questions so we can make sure that it's clear you really understand about how the proctored exams work and what's your responsibility and what is your instructional design manager's responsibility and what is the proctoring center's responsibility. So with the proctored exams, you are responsible for making sure that the exam is turned on. So again, through your checklist, you're going to submit your dates. Whatever dates that you submit through the checklist, that is what's going to be reflective in time tray. So make sure if whatever week and time that you want it to be available, that you have that same date and time reflected in your course. It is your responsibility to make sure the test is on and available. We ask you to check it the day before, okay? To make sure everything is working. Make sure that the instructions. So a lot of instructors will think that they have put instructions in their course, excuse me, in their exam, but putting instructions on the description of the exam, which is on the outside, is not the same thing as putting them in the instructions. The instructions, you'll find that by going to your course, clicking on assessments and quizzes, and when you edit your quiz, you will scroll down to the bottom after you see all your questions. At the bottom, it'll say description and page header. The description is what students are going to see when they start your test. So that is what need to have, that's the area that needs to have your instructions, okay? Please make sure you put on there what's allowed and what's not allowed. Some people are still saying, oh, well, I submitted through the checklist that they can use calculator and all this stuff, but it's not in your course. This frustrates not only the student, they're already stressed, they're already upset, they're already nervous that they have to come in, but it not only frustrates them, it frustrates the proctor because the proctor will then have to stop what he's doing or she's doing, contact us to say, is this true that this is what the student can use? An email is not valid information. I mean, if we need to, we'll use it, but do not send a student an email or post an announcement in your class to say, these are the materials you can use. It must be in your description of your exam, in your instructions. If it's not there, the proctor center is going to call us immediately, and then we have to go through this process of trying to figure out whether it's true or not. So make sure it's there. Make sure you have the correct duration and time of your exam. Your exam should not be more than 2 hours, no matter what type of exam it is. We try to make sure we give enough time for everyone. It's difficult to do a 3 or 4 hour exam, even though you may think the students need that amount of time. Maybe you might have to figure out how to split that exam up. So part of it is done at home. The other part is done in a proctoring center, okay? But 2 hours is the most that they should be able to do in the proctoring centers. Make sure you check the password. This is the password you should have on your exam. Again, if you just do all these steps the day before your exam is available, it's fine. You won't have any problems. Again, you don't share that password with any other students. Just make sure that that password is on there. And then make sure that you cover a minimum of 4 days. So if your test is open on a Wednesday, don't have it closed on Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't have it closed on Thursday or Friday, or even on a Saturday. Saturday, there's not many campuses that are open very long on Saturday, and even on Fridays, there's not many campuses open late. They're usually like 1 or 2 o'clock. So please try to make sure your test, and don't end it on a Sunday, because Sunday there are no campuses open. So ending it on a Sunday is basically taking a day away from the students. So what we ask you to do is if you're going to do a Wednesday, make sure you do it all the way up until the following Monday, so students have plenty of time to take your exam. Okay? So your support is that you need to make sure that any update or changes to your exam or your schedule. So after you submit your information to the checklist, then that information gets put into time tray. That is what students see. If you have problems or you need to make changes to that, you need to send an email to timetradesupport@ccc.edu. Charles is one of the people that deals with the email address. He will answer you in an effective and efficient manner. He will say, okay, thank you, but he's not a mind reader. So please make sure you have specific information about your course. Just because he may recognize your name doesn't mean that he knows exactly what course you're teaching, especially if you're teaching more than one section or more than one course. So you need to have detailed information when you're saying, I need help, I need you to extend my exam, okay? If you're going to extend an exam, be aware that students need 24 hours in order to sign up for your exam on that extension. So if your exam ends on a Friday and you're trying to extend it on a Thursday, or you're trying to extend it on Friday to Saturday, that's not enough time for the student to sign up for that proctored exam. You must give them 24 hours. You stop sharing. You must give them 24, yeah, no, you're good. There's 24 hours you must give them in order to sign up for it. So if you want to extend it, don't extend it for 1 day. Just go ahead and extend it for 2. That will allow enough time for the student to go back in the system and able to sign up for your exam again. But if you try to do it the next day, more than likely they're not going to be able to sign up for it. Okay. Off-campus proctoring is available. Go to our online learning website. It will tell you the steps the students need to do in order to sign up for it. So if they're traveling, again, you don't need to contact online learning. You don't need to contact your IDM to say, oh, what am I supposed to do? What should the student do? Immediately say, go to our online learning website. You should be familiar with it, so you can direct them there and say, go here, fill out the information. Our proctoring center that's here is dealing with all of the off-campus proctoring. They will get that email. They will then work with the student. Make sure the student, tell them up front, they need to find a proctoring center, not just some kind of lab or some kind of office. They need to, unless they're in the military, we'll make, really flexible accommodations. But any place else, they should go to another university or another campus or something like that in order to do offsite proctoring. And offsite proctoring is only being used when they're not in the Chicagoland area. If they're in the Chicagoland area, they should do their test on campus, on one of the 7 campuses. Support for students. Students must schedule their exam, like I told you, at my.cc.edu. They must look for seats available at all 7 colleges. A lot of times students will email you and say, I can't sign up for your proctored exam, there's a problem. We tell students that if they don't see your name there on the first day of class, that means that either 1, we haven't processed it yet, or you haven't submitted it correctly through the checklist. If you know you've done the second part and you submitted it correctly, just send an email to Times Trade Support to ask, hey, have you uploaded my information? And Charles will fix it right away. But if we're looking at midterm and students say, I can't find a place for me to take my exam, I can't seem to do that, then more than likely they're not looking at all 7 campuses, okay? So make sure that you say, look at all 7 campuses before they go to Time Trade Support and ask for some additional help. If they look across all 7 campuses, you know your information is in there, they can't find a spot, then you need to send an email to Time Trade Support first and say, hey, I need to extend my proctored exam in Time Trade, but it's a two-part kind of operation. So you send an email to Time Trade Support, say I need it to be extended in Time Trade, so therefore students can actually schedule their exam, but you also need to go back to Brightspace and extend the proctored exam there as well to whatever date you send to Time Trade. If you fail to do one or the other, students will not be able to take your exam, okay? Students do get, and we can go to the next screen. Students can also go, if they're having problems signing up for their proctored exam, they can email the Time Trade Support link. But students get a confirmation email. So the first question you should ask the student is, did you get a confirmation email? Did you cancel the proctoring exam that you already had? If it hasn't passed yet, did you cancel it? If they say no, you have to tell them they need to cancel first. Then they need to reschedule. They can't just reschedule if they still have a spot held. They have to release that and then do a new spot, okay? But this is an email confirmation they're going to get. So if they can't find it, tell them to check the junk mail, anywhere else. Even if they have their email forwarded, tell them to look at their CCC email. Sometimes things don't get forwarded to their personal email, so they need to check their CCC email at all times to make sure they receive this confirmation, okay? But this is what they need to start with in order to change anything that they have in the system. Checklist. I'm going to make the assumption that all of you have turned in your checklist, correct?
Correct.
All right. If you have not turned in your checklist, I'm currently going through my checklist. I'm sending out feedback, so you should be getting feedback today, tomorrow, Friday, even Saturday, maybe even Sunday. So just keep checking your email if you haven't received feedback from me. You will receive feedback before the first day, maybe up to Wednesday of next week, you might receive feedback. Salom has already sent out feedback for most of his instructors. There may be still a few that he still need to take care of. So check your email, make any of those adjustments that you need to make. But the checklist was already due, so if you haven't turned it in, do so. If you have a mini session, your checklist is due on February 2nd. Please be aware that there are 3 different types of courses we're now offering during 16 weeks, okay? So look at your contract to make sure you know which one you're teaching. We have 12 regular 16-week courses that will say WW from 1 all the way up to 20. If you're teaching a mini session, then it's 20 through, I think, 30, right? Anything 30 and above, we also offer 8-week courses during the 16-week time. I know it sounds kind of confusing. So we have first 8 weeks that are going to start at the same time on the 13th and end around March. And then we're going to have another set of 8-week classes that start in March and end at the end of the semester. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that we have different courses running. And we have 2 courses that are really, really special. They're really not in any of those time zones. Any of those times, they're a little bit different. There are 2 CIS courses, I think 2 or 3 CIS courses that are really, really off schedule. So make sure you check your course so you know when it's supposed to start, when it's not going to start. But if you have any of those 8-week courses, if it start at the beginning of the semester, then your checklist should already be done. If you have a 8-week course that's not starting yet, it's starting the second 8 weeks, then make sure you turn it in when the mini session checklist is due. All right. Please make sure you use the updated syllabus. Because so many people have had problems and they don't understand, and I can tell you now, I've gone through half my checklist, and the same thing I see over and over again is people are not using the syllabus template. Salon mentioned it to you earlier. I'm just going to have him really quickly bring up the syllabus template so you understand why you need to use it. Not only is it accessible, we also cleared out any of the ambiguous information that was not related to your course, so it made it easier for you to fill out. Yes, so this is the checklist in case you haven't seen it. If you don't know Brightspace, make sure you click on those links at the top. But go down to number 8. This is what we're talking about. If you have not gone here, downloaded the syllabus. So when you click on it, it's going to take you to a Brightspace. I'm not Brightspace. It'll take you to a another page, the SharePoint site. You're going to then click on the folder. You're going to go to that actual file, and then you're either going to go up to the top, and then you're going to click on the download button. Over to the right of that file, there are 3 little dots you can click on and also download. You need to download this document and start with this document first, and then go to the document you may have in your course that you copied over from last semester, and then copy and paste some of that information into that document. Is there any confusion about what we mean by use the syllabus template?
No.
Nope.
Yes, this template is from the fall of 2019. All right, so when we check your courses, all the people here, we're going to know that you use the syllabus template, right? Perfect. All right, so I just want to go over that because some people were still confused. We don't understand why, but we just wanted to make sure it was clear, all right? Again, first day of classes are on Monday, so make sure anything that needs to be open is open and ready. All right, next page. After the semester starts, by the 17th, make sure that you submit your syllabus to the departments here. These are the departments and the secretaries. So send them to the secretary so they have a copy in case they need any additional information. Last but not least, we have professional development. Like we normally do, on the first day of class, we will be sitting in a Zoom session answering any questions that you may have at the last minute. So if you're confused about something, you still have questions, we will be there to answer whatever questions you have, okay? We will send out the link. You will have it. So between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., we will be available for you. There is a online conference, Humanizing the Online Environment. It is February 13th to the 15th. We will send you a link on that too as we get a little closer. We encourage you to attend. Angie and I, one of our other coworkers, we are doing a smart thinking tutorial. More so not over smart thinking, but to let you know that there is a new feature in smart thinking that says refer a student to a tutor. So if you have students that you know may need tutoring, but you know they are either afraid of going or you want to make sure you do all you can to support that student, then there's a way that you can actually refer them to a tutor in Smart Thinking, and we'll show you how to use that, okay? So that will be coming up. We'll give you the dates on that as well and send that information out to you. All right. So at this point, are there any questions? This is all we wanted to talk about for this returning faculty orientation. Are there any questions? I know we've been answering as we went along. Are there any additional questions? I know Melda had one as far as her question was, how do we track instructors? Or how do we track students before we give them an NSW or ADW? So I just wanted to bring up, sorry. Salon, can you bring up a bright space page really quickly? Yes, sir. Okay, so just go under, I don't know if there's any students in this particular, they are students in here. So you're gonna go under either class list, if you click on class list, and then over on the right side is gonna tell you the last time they accessed in that column there. But you can also go under, actually if you go under course admin, and then it says class progress in the middle here, under learner management, up, down, right there, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if you click on there, it will show you, and there's a column over here to the right, the fourth column over, it says login. So it shows you how frequently the students are logging into the class. So you should be monitoring this throughout the semester regardless, but this will tell you how often the student is logged in. And I think if you click on that actual image of the login, it will give you details on when was the last time they logged in and so forth and so forth. So this is how you find out their process when they're actively participating in the class. All right.
When you look at the class list and it shows the last time they've accessed, does that include the other courses that they're taking, or is that specific to this course? To the
Specific to this course.
Okay.
So that's a quick way really to look and see whether or not, you know, if it's been, you know, you look at that and then the last time they logged in was the first day of class, and that's an indicator to you that you need to start emailing them and say, hey, what's going on? I know you haven't logged into the class yet. A lot of times, you know, students don't do it because they don't have materials and stuff. So you just need to communicate that to them to say you can still do stuff without having your book yet. All right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. Other than that, that's all we wanted to cover today. Are there any other additional questions?
No.
No. Okay. So before you guys leave, I see there's a question from Lissa. We'll answer that question in a minute. But before I forget, Professor Stevenson, when you get a chance, maybe not today, tomorrow, can you give me a call regarding your course? You'll get feedback from me today, but I just need you to give me a call. There's a survey we need you guys to fill out. Please fill out the feedback survey so we know that you attended today. There's a link in your chat session there. We will copy and paste it as many times as we need to. If you're using a mobile device, it may not work. So you might have to copy that and then actually go to the website. I see that Lissa said, then click content to see what they review, when, and how much time they spent. Okay, so it wasn't a question. She was just adding on to what I mentioned earlier. Thank you, Lissa. All right, so are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? If not, we wish you a very successful semester and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll stick around for about 2 or 3 minutes in case there's any additional questions might pop in your head. Can you stop the recording?